Hey guys, this is Germinal Van, author and political writer of three major books, all available on Amazon.com. Today, I would like to speak to you guys about the role of government in our lives and in American society. So, yes, lately I've been arguing a lot with my liberal and progressive friends about what is the role of government. So, of course, they're saying that is the duty of government to provide for citizens, which means to provide free education and healthcare and other social programs that would substantially reduce income inequality among citizens. I totally understand that premise, and I even believe that it's a noble objective. However, as we always say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So noble objectives and goals doesn't mean that the methods are necessarily good as well, and that is the case in the United States. So yes, like many of my progressive and liberal friends have been saying that, for instance, in Scandinavia, so in Iceland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, the government provide for the citizens, so they have free healthcare, free education, all this free stuff, and it feels good, it sounds good, everybody's happy. Well, which is good. I mean, we all want as citizens to be happy, right? But I believe, what they ignore, in my opinion, is the fact that they probably haven't studied the philosophical principle of the constitution of these countries. My theory is that if we have, I mean, sorry, in Scandinavian nations, if they have a very strong government intervention within the economy, it's probably because the constitution allowed them to do so. So I believe they have a constitution based on egalitarianism. So the constitution probably says that it's the duty and the role of government to provide the basic human needs to their citizens. In the United States, it's not the case. Why? Because the United States Constitution was founded on liberty, liberty for its people. The founding fathers clearly understood that it was more important to give freedom to the citizen than empowering government. And to do so, since the individual freedom prevails over government power, they decide to substantially limit government power. So which empowers the individual to enterprise, to undertake, to innovate, and stimulate more wealth for himself and for society as a whole. And so in the Constitution, they did not explicitly and implicitly declare that it is the role of the Constitution or the government to provide health, education, and other social programs or benefits for the citizens, such as Social Security. But now the narrative has changed. We have a we have the left who literally claim that the constitution, the government has to give, has to provide healthcare, has to provide jobs, has to provide education for everybody. But if I mean, since our constitution is based upon liberty, if the government is the one providing those human goods for us, I believe we cannot be free anymore. Because the one who provides for you will also impose upon you his conditions in order for you to still benefit from his help. That's the honest truth, and I think the left has probably forgotten that. Because let's take, for instance, education. We say free college for all. So everybody goes to whatever college they want. The government take care of it, no problem. I mean, first of all, those who want free college for all are those who it would specifically benefit, but not even the poor or the working class. Free education for all will benefit the middle class, not the poor, because the poor will not have the freedom to choose the kind of education he needs. And even when you let government choosing the education for you, basically you lose your own responsibility, because the government doesn't know the needs of every single individual. But when the government imposes a certain curriculum upon a group of people, people have no other choice but to conform to that curriculum. But that curriculum doesn't benefit every single person going to that school. That is why it is important to support the voucher system, to give the chance and the freedom to the parent to select the kind of education his child needs. When we speak of the healthcare system, thank God we do not have a complete socialized medical program. Otherwise, I don't personally think that it would have been good, because every individual knows his medical condition, and I believe that healthcare is not even a fundamental right. It's more of an individual privilege, because people don't really care about their health until something bad happens to them. So that being said, it is not the role of the government to provide healthcare for everybody, because everybody do not have the same disease, everybody do not have the same medical issues. So it's important for the government to leave the individual select his own medical insurance, because only the individual himself knows what he or she needs. Only the individual knows what matches his needs. So when the government intervenes in those things, it just brings more coercion, more arbitration, and a substantial restriction on individual liberties. So yes, we have now a strong welfare state. Of course, the welfare state occurred in the 60s with Lyndon Johnson, with his war on poverty, and he has destroyed mainly the black family instead of lifting them up. Before the war on poverty, it was only 22% of the blacks who were living in poverty. Now we have 73%. How come when the government steps in, it makes things worse? Sorry. That means that although the intention was good, I'm not gonna deny that. Although the intention was good, the methods were not. Because in order for a woman to stay on welfare, she cannot be married. So her husband, first of all, has to leave the house, so which completely emasculate him, because there's no parental authority in the house to educate the child. And now that child is exposed to crime, and his likelihood to go to jail is even stronger compared to if that child was living into a wedlock family. And that is, the government was being promulgated that kind of policy. So yes, it's important to understand, like, what do we need from the government. It's not everything that the government does that is good. And moreover, before I conclude, one thing that people ignore, in my opinion, is that when the government intervenes, it's only to provide short-term policies. So it will help people in the meantime, but not in the long run. Because what's going on when something wrong happens, for instance, when the economy is led by the free market? For instance, an entrepreneur, if his business goes wrong, he will take the blame for it. He will take the responsibility of his failure. But when a government agency goes wrong, what is going on? The government is going to raise taxes in order to create another agency, and that agency is only created to solve that problem that was already generated by the other agency. So basically, government is expanding the problem, so raising more taxes, and the citizen doesn't have much for himself. That's the problem of the bureaucracy. And now we live in a society in which uh, government has been permanent, although in the constitution it was said that the government should not have a permanent role in the economy. Now the government does. The government basically regulates everything. And what I'm afraid is that we may soon go to a total control of government, and that is tyranny. And that was the the principal fear of the founding fathers. It's that government has total control over not just the economy but over other aspects of the life of the citizens. And it's scary. But I would like you guys to comment and give me your thoughts on what the role of government should be. But in my opinion, I honestly believe that the government should be reduced to the smallest scope possible. Thank you.